6, we're back again. Kristi and Katie, your crime time friends. Stories, justice, laughs collide. True Crime Squad, come join the ride. Grab the clues, let's take a stand. For victims' voices, hand in hand. True Crime Squad, it's time to shine. Season 6, your turn, your time. True Crime Squad, where justice meets hilarity.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the True Crime Squad. This is Katie Weaver. I'm here with my sister, co-host, and partner in crime, Kristi Brower. Hello.
Hello. Hey everybody. I was just jamming out. I like
Yeah.
to rock out a little bit to our intro song, get me all pumped up for the show.
You need pumped up for the show?
Sometimes, I don't know.
I guess so. Well, good, I guess. How's it going?
It's great, going very well. We've had the baby today, and
Oh, good.
well, she's just the cutest thing I've ever seen in my whole life. I apologize for all of
She
you
is.
that have cute babies, but mine's the cutest. So
Oh,
we
that's
won.
where she's going.
Apologies.
Okay. Well, I think that's grandma prerogative, so I'll give you that.
Right.
It is what it is. Well, very good. Well, we've got a lot today because we were surprised by some big and interesting Brian Walshe news today.
Boy, weren't we, though? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All righty. So first of all, let me just review this because Brian Walsh's trial is actually in the process of beginning, including jury selection. But let me tell you, I just want to give you the background on this case. This is about the murder of Anna Walshe, who is Brian Walshe's wife.
Mm-hmm.
So clear back in 2014, Anna reports to DC police that Brian threatens her and some of her friends. So we know maybe there's a history of some stuff here.
Mm-hmm.
Then in 2018, Brian is indicted for federal art fraud. Real stand-up guy. And in April of 2021,
I had forgotten that.
Yeah. He pleads guilty to the art fraud. It's faking. No, it was selling fake Andy Warhol prints.
That's right.
But he pleads guilty, is placed on house arrest.
Mm-hmm.
So then on December 31st of 2022, and this is while he's awaiting sentencing for the art fraud, they have a New Year's Eve gathering at their home, the Walshes do. And people report attending saying they seemed normal. Initially, Brian Walshe reported that on January 1st of 2023, so early on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, that she leaves home, headed to the airport. She has to go on a business trip. Mm-hmm. And that's the last time he saw her.
Yeah.
Then on January 1st and 2nd, Brian's out purchasing a large amount of cleaning supplies at Home Depot. It's caught on surveillance. $450 of cleaning supplies while his wife is out of town. Mm-hmm. On January 4th, Anna's employer reports her missing. Guess she wasn't on that business trip now, was she?
Weird.
Right. So January 5th through the 8th of that year, 2023, there are searches. People are looking for Anna. They're searching the wooded areas near their homes in Massachusetts. Mm-hmm. And then they start thinking old Brian's lying.
Brian? I just can't. I don't think so. Yeah.
Yeah. On January 8th, he is arrested for misleading investigators. Because he knows damn well she did not go on that business trip.
No.
So, one thing to know, Anna Walsh's body has not ever been found.
No.
They looked in the Cohasset Woods, local streams and coastal areas, trash transfer stations in Peabody, and landfills connected to Brian's disposal route. Unfortunately, there were some things found in those landfills. Trash bags containing blood-soaked towels, rags, and clothing.
Yeah.
A bloody, damaged knife, tape and tarps stained with fluids, and DNA from Anna inside multiple bags.
Yeah.
Surveillance showing Brian discarding multiple heavy plastic bags in dumpsters.
Mm-hmm.
It appears that he may have dismembered her body and dumped portions in different places.
Yeah.
But no actual body has ever been found. So this is a no-body homicide, but it's supported by DNA, blood evidence, and digital evidence instead of a body. But I mean, it's still pretty clear that Anna is no longer with us.
Yeah.
So Brian, in his imminent wisdom, and keep on searching how to commit murder on the internet, please, friends, because it makes it easier to catch you.
Indeed.
Some searches, so dumb. Some searches attributed to him: how to dispose of a body, how long before a body starts to smell, dismemberment and best tools, and can you be charged with murder without a body? All things found in the digital evidence in January of 2023 on his devices. In March of 2023, March 31st, a grand jury indicts Brian Walshe for first-degree murder, misleading investigators, improper conveyance or disposal of a human body. Then, because he just can't seem to stop criming, is when he's finally sentenced on February 20th of 2024 to 37 months in federal prison and $475,000 in restitution for his art fraud scheme. Some other things to note of his trial, of course, are the corruption and misconduct concerns of Trooper at the time, Michael Proctor. Proctor later disciplined, of course, for misconduct in the Karen Reed investigation.
Right.
And Walsh's defense has tried to argue that his investigative conduct is tainted generally because he was, one of the investigators on this case. They filed broad discovery requests for federal files on Proctor. The judge allows limited inquiry, but rules evidence in Walsh's case remains admissible. There's no evidence that Proctor actually did anything wrong in Walsh's case. It's just adjacent to the Karen Reed deal.
Right.
August.
It's just that he's proven himself to be the worst of the
complete
worst.
Piece of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then on August 19th of 2025, the defense, files to get the murder indictment dismissed, as they always try, and that was denied. Then on September 11th, 2025, Brian Walshe is stabbed in jail. He was attacked by another inmate. He had non-life-threatening injuries. He was treated at a hospital and then returned to custody. But this also sort of leads to new delays, and then there's a push for a competency evaluation because apparently Brian is suffering greatly after this attack.
Sure.
Yeah. So we know that in October, he went through a competency evaluation at Bridgewater State Hospital. On November 14th, the judge rules that Walshe is competent to stand trial. Also, there had been a venue change request at that time. That was also denied. And the judge was like, God damn it, we are going to trial. Okay. And then today, as they are starting jury selection, or right before starting jury selection, Brian Walshe says, you know what? I think I'm going to plead guilty to 2 of the 3 charges. I bet you can guess the charge he did not plead guilty to. I bet you can. But you won't have to because...
Well, you're going to be real confused, but yes.
Yeah. I've got the footage, friends. So let's just watch this.
Understand, sir, that you are pleading guilty to the following 2 indictments. Indictment 002, which charges willfully misleading a police investigation, a criminal investigation, in violation of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 268, Section 13B, and in Indictment 003, you are pleading guilty to, while not being lawfully authorized by proper authorities, willfully conveying away a human body or the remains thereof in violation of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 272, Section 71. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And have you talked to your attorneys about each of these two indictments?
Yes, Your Honor.
Has counsel explained the elements of each of those two indictments that the Commonwealth would have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand each indictment?
I'm sorry, what did you?
Do you understand each indictment?
Yes, Your Honor.
And to defense counsel, have you explained the elements of each of the two offenses to your client? I'm going to ask that the assistant of the Commonwealth, whoever wishes to do it, would tell me what the maximum and minimum sentences are. And I don't believe there are any mandatory minimum sentences, but you can tell me if there are.
There are no mandatory minimum sentences, Your Honor. The maximum sentence on count 2 is 10 years unless the investigation is into a capital offense, and then it is a 20-year sentencing enhancement, up to 20 years. On count 3, it is up to 3 years in state prison.
Thank you. Mr. Walsh, did you hear the maximum possible sentences for the charges that the Commonwealth just recited?
Yes, Your Honor.
And do you understand those maximum potential offense charges, sentences?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that I have the authority to impose consecutive sentences on indictments, meaning, for example, that the sentence on the second indictment would begin only after you completed your sentence on the first indictment?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that if I impose a period of probation, you will be subject to the terms and conditions imposed, including not committing any other crimes and reporting to your probation officer?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you should later be found in violation of any of the terms or conditions, hair and/or saliva, and that sample will become part of the Massachusetts DNA database. You will be required to pay for the cost of collecting, preparing, and processing that sample unless you are determined to be indigent, and failure to comply with this law will subject you to separate criminal penalties. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you still willing to plead guilty?
Yes, Your Honor.
I know earlier in the colloquy this morning, you told me that you were born in Boston, and I have no reason to doubt that. But the law mandates that I give you warnings with regard to immigration consequences, and I'm going to give you those immigration consequences now. If you are not a citizen of the United States, you are hereby advised that my acceptance of your guilty plea may have the consequence of deportation, exclusion from admission to the United States, and denial of your naturalization request, all pursuant to the federal laws. Further, if the offense to which you are pleading guilty is under federal law, one that presumptively mandates removal from the United States, and federal officials seek your removal, it's practically inevitable that this conviction will result in deportation, exclusion from admission to the United States, and/or denial of your naturalization request. Again.
Just curious, guys, have you ever heard a judge say this before about your immigration status at a sentencing? Or not a sentencing, but at a pleading like this? I have not ever heard a judge say this, but I'm wondering if any of you have.
Under those federal laws. Do you understand what I just said?
Yes.
Has your attorney advised you of these consequences if you are not a citizen of the United States?
Yes, Your Honor.
And understanding that, do you still wish to plead guilty?
Yes, Your Honor.
Because the sentence for count number 2 could be a sentence, a state prison sentence of 3 or more years, I'm now going to give you what's called the habitual offender law warning, which I'm required to give you. Here it is. If at some time in the future you are convicted or plead guilty to a third or subsequent offense that is within the category of offenses covered by the statute, then 1, you may be imprisoned in state prison for the maximum term provided by law for such third or subsequent offense. 2, your sentence could not be reduced or suspended. And 3, you may be ineligible for probation, parole, work release, or furlough, or to receive any deduction in the sentence for good conduct. Do you understand what I just said?
Yes, Your Honor.
And understanding what I've advised you with regard to these sentencing consequences, are you still willing to plead guilty to the 2 charges?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. I'm now going to ask the Assistant District Attorney to summarize the evidence that would have been presented against you by the Commonwealth if you went to trial in this case. And I'm going to ask, sir, that you listen carefully, because when the ADA is finished, I'm going to ask you some questions about the facts that the ADA has stated.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, regarding count 002, misleading police in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 268, Section 13B. On or about or in between January 1st to January 8th, 2023, Mr. Walsh did willfully mislead police officers with the intent to impede, obstruct, delay, prevent, and otherwise interfere with the criminal investigation to the disappearance and murder of Anna Walsh. The defendant first misled the Cohasset police in the morning of January 4th, 2023, when after he had reported his wife, Anna Walsh, missing. He stated to a Cohasset police officer that Anna Walsh had left the Walsh residence at 516 Chief Justice Cushing Highway in Cohasset on the morning of January 1st, 2023, by taking an Uber or Lyft to Logan Airport when returning to Washington, D.C. for a work emergency. The defendant then continued to mislead police officers. When he made additional false statements about Anna Walsh being alive and voluntarily leaving the Walsh residence, as well as when he detailed his whereabouts on January 1st, 2023, to Cohasset police and Massachusetts State police officers. The defendant continued to make false statements when the police officers from these agencies met with him, including on the evening of January 4th, on January 5th, January 7th, and January 8th. In January of 2023, the Cohasset Police Department had approximately 20 full-time police officers, including 2 detectives. The Cohasset Police devoted all available resources in an attempt to find Anna Walsh. They requested assistance from other departments and agencies. And on January 6th, the chief of the Cohasset Police Department conducted a press conference seeking help in locating Anna Walsh. As a result of the defendant's false and misleading statements, law enforcement agencies and police officers took many actions which had a heavy financial and emotional cost. These included the Cohasset Fire Department searching a swimming pool at the Walsh residence, teams of police officers from multiple agencies and departments, including a K-9 teams participating in large-scale canvass of the area around the Walsh residence during inclement weather. D.C. Metro Police attempted to locate Anna Walsh in Washington, D.C., and Massachusetts police officers, including Cohasset Police, Massachusetts State Police detectives, and other units from the Massachusetts State Police, traveled to Washington to search for Anna Walsh in a result of the defendant's false statements. The defendant's conduct was willful. His statements impeded, obstructed, delayed, and otherwise interfered with the criminal investigation, and the delays resulted in contents of dumpsters in which the defendant had disposed of Anna Walsh's remains being incinerated.
Why don't you pause there? We'll deal with count 1 and, count 2, and then we'll go to count 3.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right? So, Mr. Walsh, did you hear what the Assistant District Attorney just said with regard to the statement of the offense conduct for indictment 002, misleading police?
Your Honor, if I may, Mr. Walsh is prepared to admit to the recitation of facts with respect to the indictment that the government just read, insofar as it alleges he did impede and obstruct the criminal investigation into the disappearance of Anna Walsh. We obviously object, and he's not admitting to and murder. The second portion of the facts that the government just read that we would take issue with is the last sentence, and the delays resulted in the contents of the dumpsters into which the defendant had deposited Anna Walsh remains being incinerated. Insofar as the rest of the facts, he's prepared to admit.
All right. Mr. Walsh, you just heard what Attorney Porges said, sort of the insofar as. It's another way of saying it limited to this. And you heard what your counsel just said. Understanding those limitations as just articulated by your counsel, did you do or join others in doing those acts?
Yes.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty that you're admitting to the facts described as revised by your counsel are true?
Yes.
Are they?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh, did you in fact willfully mislead various law enforcement to include members of the Cohasset Police Department and the Massachusetts State Police with the intent to impede or interfere with a criminal investigation of Anna Walsh's disappearance.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Moving to indictment number 3.
Thank you, Your Honor. Willfully conveying a human body in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 272, Section 71. On or about and in between January 1st and January 8th, 2023, the defendant Brian Walsh willfully conveyed away the body of Anna Walsh, or the remains thereof, from the Walsh residence at 516 Chief Justice Cushing Highway in Cohasset by conveying and disposing of Anna Walsh's body without a license or lawful authority, or the remains thereof, into dumpsters and/or garbage receptacles in eastern Massachusetts. The defendant's actions were willful. Anna Walsh was not a stranger to the defendant. She was the defendant's wife and mother of his 3 young children. The defendant conducted internet searches into disposal of the body, researched locations of dumpsters, and then traveled to those locations. In disposing of the body of Anna Walsh, the defendant did not comply with the law.
Thank you. Sir, did you hear what the Commonwealth just alleged it would prove the case went to trial with regard to indictment number 3?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you do those things or join others in doing those acts?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty to today, you are admitting the facts described just now by ADA Connor?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Walsh, did you in fact willfully remove or convey the body of Anna Walsh or her remains, not being lawfully authorized to do so?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you now plead guilty to these indictments willingly and voluntarily?
Yes, Your Honor.
Has anyone threatened you or forced you in any way to plead guilty to these 2 indictments?
No, Your Honor.
Has anyone promised you anything in return for your plea of guilty to these 2 indictments other than the terms of the plea agreement that we discussed? Excuse me, there's no plea agreement. That's what happens when you keep reading from the book, and you shouldn't. Has anyone promised you anything in return for your plea of guilty to these 2 indictments?
No, Your Honor.
Have you had enough time to discuss your rights, your case, your defenses, and the possible consequences of your guilty plea with your attorney?
Yes, Your Honor.
And do you feel that Attorney Tipton and Attorney Porges have acted in your best interest, that he and she have fully, fairly, and adequately represented you in this case?
Yes.
Are you confused in any way by any of the questions I've asked you today?
No, Your Honor.
As I understand it then, sir, you're pleading guilty to these 2 indictments because you wish to plead guilty because you are guilty. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Counsel, do you know, defense counsel first, do you know of any reason why I should not accept your client's guilty plea? Same question to the Commonwealth.
Your Honor, I'll be brief, but we had spoke that this is a non-negotiated plea with the Commonwealth, and we had some objections to it. But my concern was where the defendant equivocates on the factual basis that the Commonwealth read in, that is one reason you should not take it. And the second is this count 3 revolves around improper disposal of Ms. Walsh's remains. And the defendant, when asked his marriage status, said that he was married. And consequently, Your Honor, then that is not an accurate relaying of his current status to the court and could be invalidating the plea. So I believe he has to be asked that question again. And I believe that if he continues to say he's married, that he's negating facts of count 3.
All right, I'll give defense counsel an opportunity to speak with your client.
Your Honor, I apologize. I couldn't exactly hear what Mr. Connor's caveat was.
In response to one of the early questions I asked of the defendant, I asked him if he was married, and he said yes, he was. And the Commonwealth was raising the point that if that were true, that it might negate proof of the disinterment, which requires a human body or remains. Do you want to speak to your client about that?
So what's happening here is when they go through all the questions, are you on any drugs and alcohol? Or, they're doing the, check in to make sure he's in his right mind. She asked him if he was married, and he said yes. And the state is like, he's just admitting to disposing of his wife's body. So both cannot be true.
Right.
It's sticky, but it's not super important, but it could be. And so
Right.
they're like, we want to be clear that he is agreeing that his spouse is in fact deceased.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Walsh, earlier today, I asked you whether you were married, and you answered yes, you were married. Do you remember that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And is it correct that you were married to Anna Walsh for a period of time,
Yes, Your Honor.
and that under the law, death extinguishes marriage? It may not religiously or otherwise, spiritually, but under the law, when someone dies or when someone is dead, you can no longer be married to them. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And so are you married today?
Your Honor, if I may, insofar as previous discussions, for purposes of a successful plea colloquy and meeting the elements of the crime, he is acquiescing to the fact that lawfully he is not married today.
All right, you heard what your lawyer just said? Agree with what your lawyer just said?
Yes, Your Honor, I agree.
All right. Anything else that we need to cover?
No, Your Honor.
All right. To the extent that the Commonwealth is objecting to the taking of the plea on other grounds, that is overruled. My job here is to make sure that I have a valid plea, and that means that the defendant is pleading guilty to the elements that the Commonwealth would have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. And I have inquired sufficiently to assure myself that he has admitted to each of the elements of the two offenses of indictment 02 and 03. So I know we discussed at an earlier point the issue of victim notification, and I'll ask on the record now for the Commonwealth. Has the Commonwealth advised the victims of this case of the defendant's offer to change his plea to guilty?
Yes, we have notified the victims, Your Honor.
And based on our prior discussions, I understand that the victims may wish to address this court prior to any sentencing of the defendant.
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right. And both parties that we've talked about this have agreed that we're not going to be sentencing the defendant today on the indictments that he's now pleading guilty to, correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Attorney Tipton Borges? All right. And we'll give the victims a reasonable opportunity to address the court before sentencing, of course.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You understand, Mr. Walsh, that at the time that we do get to sentencing, that by law, I'm not bound to any recommendation that's made by the prosecution or your lawyers. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And that I may impose any sentence permitted by law up to the maximum allowable sentence.
Yes, Your Honor.
Having considered Mr. Walsh's criminal history, the government's proffered evidence, I will later consider the victim's statements to the court for matters for sentencing. I find that Mr. Walsh has met the requirements to tender a plea to counts 2 and to counts 3. I make the following findings. I find that the defendant is not presently under the influence of drugs or alcohol, and that he hasn't reported that he's not presently suffering from any mental illness or condition, and that he's not presently taking any medications. I find that the defendant understands the nature of the charges and the consequences of his pleading guilty. I find that the defendant's change of plea to guilty with respect to each of the two indictments, 02 and 03, is made knowingly, willingly, intelligently, and voluntarily, and with the full knowledge of its consequences. I find that the defendant's change of plea on these two indictments to guilty is made upon and with the advice of competent counsel, and I find there's a factual basis in the evidence as has been summarized by the prosecution and limited by defense counsel on behalf of the defendant for each of the two indictments to which the defendant now pleads guilty. Accordingly, I accept Mr. Walsh's plea of guilty as to indictments 002 and 003.
All right, so there we have it. The whole immigration thing was very strange to me. I've never heard that in a trial before, or in a hearing before like this. the thing is, Brian Walshe has been in federal prison for his art crimes. So if he wasn't a citizen, he would have already been deported.
Right.
So I don't think there's any question that he is an American citizen. As far as I can tell, there's nothing that indicates that he's not an American citizen. So
Yeah.
that was weird. The whole marriage thing is creepy too, because I think there was
Yeah.
a big sidebar that I took out. But I think what basically he's saying is that spiritually he's still married to Anna.
Yeah.
Fuck you, dude.
Yeah.
Like, really?
Wow.
Gross. Yeah.
Awful. Yeah. So interesting stuff. I mean, obviously, yeah, some people are saying that this might be part of their plan to throw off the state, which could be.
Right.
But also
now they don't have to go for who did it, but now they have
Yeah.
to really focus in heavier on how he did.
Right.
I don't think there's so much forensics in this case. I'm not worried about that really.
Right. However, I couldn't help wonder, is the defense going to go by way of this is a family tragedy?
Oh my God. I'm
Accidents
afraid
happen.
so.
Suicides happen. My fear
Right.
is that they're going to try to claim that Anna killed herself and that Brian
Yes.
panicked and didn't want their children to know and didn't know what to
Or
do.
this was
and so this is what he
self-defense and he
did.
freaked out. Yeah. See, I think that's what they're going to try. I agree with you. I think they're going to try to pull some bullshit like that.
Hmm.
But if that were the case,
Reasonable people call 911. Innocent
Right.
people call 911.
why did you dismember her body and throw it
Hmm.
away in a whole bunch of different dumpsters and lie
Mhm.
about all of this shit? Like, it does
Yeah.
not track. We've seen this in other murder cases, and
Yep.
it doesn't work.
Yep.
But I mean, they have a lot on Brian, and so maybe
Didn't
this is
Harmony
just the final.
Montgomery's dad do this?
Yes, he did. Adam Montgomery did this.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't help
Yeah.
him,
No.
and he did a very worse, horrible version, but similar version of this.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't. I mean, if you were there when this person died,
Mm-hmm.
and then you disposed of their body illegally, and yet you didn't kill them, come on, man. The jury's going to be smarter than that. I really think they are, especially given the forensic evidence that makes it very clear that he had to have dismembered her body.
Yeah. Yeah.
The amount of blood and DNA that they have found. You know that he took one of his children with him to the Home Depot to buy
Yeah.
$450 worth of plastic sheeting and bags and tape and cleanup
Mhm.
supplies.
And just,
Hideous.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that Brian's never bought cleaning supplies before in his fucking life.
I know, and that was the
Also,
first time, I think.
there was a fight over discovery because when they searched the home and seized and searched electronics, some of the searches were on the kid's iPad. And this defense
Oh, right.
fought really hard to keep those searches out because that wasn't Brian's and it wasn't within their scope to take because it wasn't his. And the state's like, these are little kids. They're all his. Like,
Right.
what are you talking about?
No, that child did not buy that iPad with their own money and pay for the
Mhm.
internet on it with their own money.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
He's gross as hell.
Yep.
Totally gross.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's where we're at. I really like this judge because she's like, all right, whatever you're going to throw at me, we're still going to trial, motherfucker. So now they move into jury selection. And somebody said, did this mess with the jury information form? Yeah, I'm sure it did. I'm sure that they've had to make a bunch of changes.
Mhm.
And that's probably part of why, just trying to throw everything off.
Mhm.
I don't think it's going to matter.
I don't either. No. Yeah. Hail Mary, last chance. Yeah.
Yeah. Right, Kristi? Why doesn't he say where her body is?
Right.
If he just disposed of her body but didn't kill her, why doesn't he say where she is?
Mm-hmm.
I think because he doesn't know, frankly.
Yep.
He separated parts of her body, threw them away in different dumpsters,
Mm-hmm.
more than one landfill. Like,
Yep. Yep.
it's never going to be found, which is so sad.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's still a murder trial. It's still on.
Yep. This is heading right straight into murder now. Yeah, so they're trying him for first degree murder, and he's pled guilty to the other 2 charges for some dumb reasons that I don't think make any sense as a defense, but whatever. Right, he is a professional criminal. I mean, what else has Brian done in his life, considering the art fraud and now this? Like, he's a shitty person.
Yep. The shittiest, yes.
Absolutely. So, Katie, with that, I'm going to kick the mic over to you for our main case.
Okay. It's been a while since we talked about the 764, but we're back again because there has been more. There's always more. But we're going to talk a little bit about Marek, oh, good Lord, Cherkaoui, I think. Hold on. I got the pronunciation laid out for me. And now I can't remember. Yeah, Cherkaoui. Oh, I knew it. Okay.
Good job.
Marek Cherkaoui has been arrested and is in federal custody. I'll tell you a little bit about what he did. He has a lengthy history of making online comments involving threats and advocating for and supporting violence. From December 2024 through May 2025, Cherkaoui allegedly used the internet to threaten a minor female and told her to cut herself. On 2 occasions, the minor female cut her arms after being threatened by Cherkaoui. He was threatening her that if she didn't cut herself on a live stream, on his live stream, that he would dox her and get her in trouble with her parents. And so she did that 2 times.
Oh, holy crap.
That's
terrifying.
Yeah. Yes, so he's caught some charges for that. But they remember a lot more. They're and this is all from this District of New Jersey Attorney General's office. The U.S. Attorney General's office, this information. But they're also saying that Cherkaoui has a history of making online comments espousing ideology related to the NVE network known as 764. Cherkaoui has expressed support for mass shooters, solicited child sex abuse materials from minors, and encouraged other individuals to harm themselves and others. Cherkaoui previously purchased books regarding the manufacture of explosives, body armor, zip ties, a trench coat, ski masks, and tactical gear. Many of these items were seized from his home in a June 2025 search by law enforcement. During the search of Cherkaoui's home today, FBI agents found writings in which Cherkaoui discussed and planned murder and terroristic acts, including a multi-step plan that involved joining ISIS and returning to the United States to commit acts of terrorism.
Good God.
Yeah. So luckily he's been arrested now and charged with some online crimes for what he did to this child. But as you can see, he's done a lot of other things. But this led me back to thinking about who is the 764 network.
Right.
We've talked about them before, but it bears discussing them again. So the 764 group was founded by a child, believe it or not. Around 2021. There was a sextortion network known as CVLT. So if you don't know what sextortion is getting people to give you nudes or videos of them in sex acts and things like that, and then using that as a way to extort them for money. That I'm going to send this to your parents, I'm going to send this to your school, I'm going to send this out to the world if you don't give me money. And unfortunately, or do other things. Send me a video of you hurting an animal or things like that. Remember the monkey crusher?
Yes.
If you don't, congratulations. I sure do. The goal As far as the authorities say, 764 is to just create chaos and try to create the end of the world. Just fuck up as many people as you possibly can.
Well, and extort people for money.
Well, yeah, for sure that too. Yeah. And they've all turned into a bunch of pedophiles as well, so there's that. So the name 764 comes from the first 3 digits of the zip code for Stephenville, Texas, where the founder lived. The founder's name is Bradley Cadenhead. He was 15 when he created the 764. He had learned grooming and sextortion tactics on the CVLT server and then spun off of that with the 764. So he's actually in prison. He was prosecuted, and so the Center for Missing and Exploited Children says that he was sentenced in 2023 to 80 years in prison for related crimes.
Wow.
Well, mostly for sextortion. And see, what's happening, though, is that they are talking children into sending nudes. And then, of course, they're getting charges for CSAM, as they should be.
Yeah.
And so that it was a bunch of stuff like that he was charged with, that he's in prison for 80 years. But his movement hasn't slowed down much at all.
That is so wild.
It's so wild. Let me give you a little more information about the movement, then I'll tell you about some of the arrests that we know have happened in association with it. This is incredibly important information for parents and grandparents and anybody who has kids on the internet.
Yeah.
So, according to the DOJ, they believe that there are 300 to 500 active offenders.
Oh my God.
All 56 FBI field offices have 764 related cases. All of them.
Oh my God. Why is this group so prolific? Jesus.
Because young men are not okay. This is the same shit over and over again. Investigators are saying that they have hundreds of active abusers who directly produce, share, or coerce self-harm in CSAM. That they're constantly trying. This is just whack-a-mole, trying to catch these guys and snuff this out.
Yeah.
So they say that few hundred participate in abuse, coercion, production, doxing, and extremist activity. There's a broader network, like an extended community of people who buy into the same ideologies. Because it's not a single chat room, it's not a single site, it's more of an ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
So basically what they believe is that there could be 2,000 to 8,000 individuals globally. Not all of them are actively committing crimes. Many of them lurk, consume, egg on abuse, and participate in status culture without actually coercing victims. So you have plenty of people that are just there for the show, right? They love to watch the live streams of them forcing children to self-harm or of injuring animals and so on and so forth.
My God.
Yeah. It's as bad as it seems. So,
probably worse.
30 plus countries. The FBI has tracked people with these activities claiming, connection to the 764. US, Canada, Mexico, Germany, France, Finland, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, Netherlands, UK, Ireland, Greece, Poland, Czech Republic, Italy, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, and more. Victim counts in the thousands. This is from Europol, German law enforcement, DOJ, and NCMEC. These numbers come from all of them. They say that there have been thousands of children groomed, hundreds coerced into self-harm, many coerced into sexual exploitation, and several documented suicides tied to coercion. They're saying that there are dozens of new reports in North America alone. The platform reach is massive, and that's a big part of the problem. These guys are everywhere. Everywhere.
Sounds like it.
Discord, Telegram, WhatsApp, Signal, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, Reddit, gaming platforms like Roblox, Minecraft servers, VR chat, burner forums, encrypted file drop services, and lorebook trading groups. Yeah, these are mainstream platforms. We're not just talking about the dark web. We're talking about the web. They're everywhere.
God.
Yeah. So let's talk about a few of the more well-known cases. We'll start with Bradley Chance Cadenhead. So we know in March of 2023, he pled guilty to 9 counts of child porn possession tied to the 764 network that he founded. He was sentenced to 80 years in state prison. And of course,
How old was he at that point?
Well, he was 15 when he started. He was 17 when he pled guilty.
17.
Yep.
God.
Yep.
Destroyed his life.
Yeah. And started a horrific movement.
Yeah.
And
then threw his entire life away.
Yeah.
My God. How destructive.
So here's this case, okay. Leonidas Varagianis and Prazin Nepal. These 2 were considered to be 764 Inferno leaders. In April 2nd of 2025, Nepal was arrested in North Carolina. On April 28th of 2025, and by the way, Nepal goes by Trippy, and Varagianis goes by War. Trippy is 20, War is 21. It's mostly young men. War is a U.S. citizen. Yeah, Varagianis is a U.S. citizen that lives in Greece. He was arrested there on a U.S. warrant. So they were both. The DOJ has announced charges against both of them as leaders of 764 Inferno, which is a subgroup within 764. They're accused of running a global child exploitation enterprise, directing production and distribution of CSAM, coercing self-harm, and compiling lore books. What's a lore book, you ask? Oh, it's just a compilation of extreme abuse that they use as currency within their group.
Oh.
Yeah. It's just a competition to see how much of the very worst they can come up with.
My God.
In Hamburg, in June to October of 2025, there was an arrest and a huge charging document to a man that has, he's 20. He has dual German and Iranian citizenship. He operated under the alias White Tiger. He's alleged to have orchestrated 120 offenses from 2021 to 2023, including CSAM, coercion, and extreme self-harm, with at least 8 child victims in Germany, the US, Canada, and the UK. God. And the big allegation is that he coerced a 13-year-old American boy into killing himself on live stream.
Oh, my God.
And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that case because actually ABC put out a big article about that little boy today. So I've got more information from his family from what they told ABC. So we'll get there. So Germany, just on October 15th, has announced 204 charges, including murder and severe child abuse. Now, in Germany, they don't release names, so we still don't actually know what his name is other than White Tiger. Yeah. On October 27th, 2025, these are all very recent, if you're not catching up to that, Tony Christopher Long was arrested in Porterville, California, on a federal indictment. 2 counts of animal crushing, sexual exploitation of a minor, possession of child exploitation material, cyberstalking, and transmitting interstate threats.
My God.
And yet again, the DOJ explicitly calls him a member of the 764. Eric Lee
That is a
Madison.
name. That's a number we all need to remember.
Yes.
If you hear anyone using that term,
Mm-hmm. You get
911.
Yep. Eric Lee Madison from Hillthorpe, Maryland, arrested on November 12th, 2025 on federal charges. He was arrested and charged federally, victimizing at least 5 children, one as young as 13, in 2025, with alleged criminal conduct reaching back to 2020 when he himself was a minor. You have to wonder how many of these kids were actually, at one point, maybe victims to this group who ended up joining them.
God. That's
How are kids even finding this shit and watching it? Well, like I said,
Well,
it's
it sounds
everywhere.
like it's pretty readily available.
Yeah.
You named so many different platforms.
It's everywhere. Yeah. So he too has been explicitly linked to 764. And then Marek that I already told you about. And that's just a few of the most recent cases that I could find. But let's talk a little bit more about the child that was bullied to death. From the ABC article, just a little more about 764. Members of 764 find vulnerable children on popular platforms like Discord and Roblox, befriend them, and then coerce them into producing sexually explicit content and committing acts of gruesome violence against themselves or others, including pets, siblings, and even strangers. They are seeking the end of the world. This is what Pat McGonigal, who is retired from the FBI, that investigated Jay Taylor's case. Jay is the child that died. They also claim that members of the 764 often host live online chats so others can watch the self-harm and violence in real time. The further they can push their victims, the more stature and respect they will receive within the 764. So let me tell you about Jay. So Jay was transgender. And as you can imagine, these guys really especially hate trans people because, of course they do. Jay died 3 years ago, and his parents have been waiting for 3 years for something to be done. And the U.S. has never done it. Never filed any charges, never really done anything.
Oh, God.
And yet they were very surprised to discover that actually Germany has done it and charged him with the death of Jay.
Wow.
So his parents have been quiet about this for 3 years, waiting for an arrest or something to happen. They were under the impression they couldn't talk about this.
Oh, my
So
gosh.
now that there's an arrest made, they feel like they can finally speak up. So Jay, during COVID, Jay's parents said that he started feeling pretty isolated and lonely, and was also in the midst of a gender transition. And COVID was really hard. They said he became anorexic and started cutting. They had professional help, and they locked down computer time, limiting it to 1 hour every day, and tracking his websites and chat rooms that he visited because they were worried about what's going on with him. But he seemed like he was getting better. He was in a healthier place. And so they let up a little bit on the internet lockdown, but they were still keeping a close eye on his computer. So he was really crafty. And she said that nearly all of his computer time was spent with craft stuff. That's most of what she found on his internet, activity was just... And by the way, his mother is a high school teacher and a crisis counselor. And they were doing everything right. Checking his computer, it was craft-related stuff mostly. Groups finding each other through crafts. She said it just seemed very innocent and safe. But unfortunately, somewhere through there, someone from that group connected with Jay. So in January 2022, he posted a message in Discord saying, "I'm looking for friends, particularly LGBTQ, for crochet buddies." And at 1:30 in the morning, someone responded to his message and brought him into a live chat with other people. And this is on the very short still leash of internet that he has. He still only gets an hour.
Wow.
But his parents didn't realize that it resets at midnight. And so he ended up on the internet quite a lot longer than they thought he would be.
Oh.
So within an hour or so, others in this group start telling Jay that he should kill himself.
Oh my God.
And it was White Tiger, who's now been arrested in Germany, directing others to push and manipulate Jay. So all these people are putting pressure on him. They were misgendering him. They were watching and encouraging him, doing everything they could to pressure him into killing himself. One of them promised that if he did it, they would too. About 4:30 in the morning, Jay snuck out of their home, walked to a parking lot of a nearby grocery store, where he pointed his phone to himself, opened up a live stream on Instagram, and strangled himself to death.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's so awful.
Yeah.
What? Why are people like this? I know that is an ageless and unanswerable question, but
Yep.
some human beings are so destructive.
We also know that after he died, there was a teenager in Australia who ended up on the online chat with White Tiger and other people, and they were sharing the recordings of Jay's suicide and joking about it. And she was horrified, and so she found Jay's dad online and sent him the video of Jay's death.
God. Holy shit.
So then they turned everything over to the police, who turned it over to the FBI. They finally learned the true identity of White Tiger. Obviously, they're still not releasing his name because of laws in Germany. White Tiger refers to himself online as an e-girl groomer. Targeting young girls who just want love, and convinces them to mutilate themselves, and then coaxes them into finding more victims to manipulate them.
Jesus.
Yeah.
This person has to go away with no access to technology forever.
Yeah, it's just absolutely horrifying what this family has been through, what was done to this boy. It's just all unbelievable. So again, now that guy's finally been arrested, and the U.S. has arrested several of these guys this year, but I don't think we can talk about this enough.
No,
because Jay's parents did everything right, and yet this still happened.
These predators are out there seeking out children
and pouring massive pressure on them. How old is White Tiger? Let me see if we know. 20.
20 years old.
20. It seems like most of the perps are just men that are in their early 20s.
That are just barely adults themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just don't understand.
So remember 764.
Yes.
And just realize that these people are out there on the internet. They are out there in the world. They are out there targeting children. And it could be your child.
Children should not be on Discord. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Yes, children should not be on Discord.
You should get them off.
Roblox too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Discord, Discord's a great thing. I use it. We have our group.
Right, we love our Discord.
I do not think that minors should be on Discord.
Yep, no.
It's so anonymous.
Mm-hmm.
You have no idea who you're really talking to on Discord.
Yep.
Oh, God.
Yep. So, scary stuff out there, but I think we have to keep talking about it and keep paying attention to it. I am so grateful for Jay's family that we're finally going to see, hopefully, some justice for what happened to Jay, and so many other kids that maybe their parents never do know what really happened, you know?
Right. Well, unless we're talking about this stuff and getting some education about this group of individuals and this name that they're going by.
Yeah. Yep. Wow. Kristi said under a new Australian law, children under 16 are not allowed to be on social media. Agree.
The only way that'll happen is if parents actually enforce it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. There's always ways around it. Always. But the internet's not getting to be a safer place. It's getting to be a more dangerous place.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
So we'll continue to keep an eye on this group and these arrests, along with so many other things like the Brian Walshe trial. Yarks.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll keep you updated on the Brian Walshe trial. We're not going to stream it, but we will do regular updates on it.
Absolutely. Also, tomorrow night is the watch party. So we'll be letting you know shortly what we're watching.
We will, right as soon as I figure it out, because I forgot to do that earlier.
Well, just plan on tomorrow night right after the show. So the Wednesday night case updates is at 6 p.m. tomorrow night, and then the watch party at 7:15, so directly after. So we'll be sure you know. We'll post it in Discord today, and then, of course, we'll announce it on the show again tomorrow night. But that is what's coming up. And then, of course, we'll be back on Thursday at 3 p.m. for our last show of the week. So still lots more true crime to come. So please take good care of yourselves. Have a good night. And thank you all very, very much for being here. This has been yet another production of the True Crime Squad.
Bye, everybody.
Season 6, we're back again. Kristi and Katie, your crime time friends. Stories, justice, laughs collide. True Crime Squad, come join the ride. Grab the clues, let's take a stand. For victims' voices, hand in hand. True Crime Squad, it's time to shine. Season 6, your turn, your time. True Crime Squad, where justice meets hilarity.